Hello everyone, my name is Patrick McGrath Muniz. Welcome back to my channel. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the archetype of the magician from the tarot. But I'm not going to limit myself to the tarot cards. I'm also going to be talking about how to spot this archetype in your daily lives, on other people, and popular culture, and art history, and how to implement it in your own work, whatever your work is. So first of all, I wanted to share with you the image of the magician as depicted by Pamela Coleman Smith for the Smith Waite Tarot deck. This is from the Centennial Edition published by US Games. It has been the inspiration for many tarot decks, as well as the Tarot of Marseille. And it has been popularized these days by Alejandro Jodorowsky. Both of these cards have served as inspiration for my own version in the Tarot Neocolonial de las Américas, El Mago. There you have it. So let's talk about the iconography in these cards. In most decks, we find a medieval street juggler entertaining with his sleight of hand. Think of the guessing game of ball and three cups. There's an aspect of illusion and trickery to it. It requires a special talent, a very good hand. So this is obviously a card about skill, the action itself, the issue of control. The magician also represents skill that is verbal or physical in nature. On the Marseille version, notice the hat's brim, which suggests a number 8 on its side. This pattern, called a lemon skate, is a mathematical sign for infinity, and it's shown on the Smith Waite or Rider-Waite tarot deck. It can be seen as the sweeping movement of opposites, which endlessly changes into the other as the symbol of Tai Chi. This becomes the perpetual motion of creation. The magician raises one arm and lowers the other, like the maxim for the great magician of ancient Egypt, Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great. The Hermetic maxim goes, as above, so below. The wand, like an orchestra conductor directing energy. The left hand indicating natural unconscious gift. The right hand indicating training and intellect. There's a precious balance between passive and active, subconscious and conscious. By the mere action he's up to. He's a mystic, a poet at work, transforming matter and liberating spirit from it. With him, we begin the great work. His tools relate to the 4 elements. He has a smile of confidence, the look of intelligence. He is highly creative, inventive, eloquent, and persuasive. He controls everything by quick dexterity, knowledge, and the power of ideas. Associated with Mercury, Hermes, he is the archetypal trickster, wheeler, dealer, but also a messenger and mediator. Like Mercury, the seasoned traveler, he connects inner and outer, above and below, partaking of both. Mercury, the name derives from the Latin merx, or mercator, the basis for merchant, implying one involving in barter and selling. He is curiously also the patron god of thieves and swindlers. Like Mercury, he's curious and playful, like a child making experiments, like an early scientist. In our technology-driven era, he is a master, feeling quite at home with all sorts of virtual gimmicks and tech gadgets. Artists, poets, traveling performers, but also con artists, telemarket deceivers, bartenders, presenters, and anyone behind a counter or a podium. Unlike the fool, the magician is set by rules and structures, as well as by the mastery of his art. In my experience, I've encountered magicians that are also fools, and vice versa. It requires special mastery of perceptions and fooling one's eyes. You see clowns in circuses perform magic tricks. They're often combined. But the difference lies in the nature and purpose of their actions. A magician manipulates and often hides behind a table or curtain. There's a hidden agenda. He has a hidden card up his sleeve. A fool is out in the open and tells it as it is, suffering the consequences for it, and called a madman. The fool has a practical joke in store. The magician has a magical performance to show. The fool makes us laugh. The magician mystifies us and makes us wonder. The fool is a happy-go-lucky amateur. The magician is a serious professional and dedicated artist. The fool's designation is a 0. The world is his oyster. He is interested in everything. The magician is a lot more focused. His intention is directed. There's purpose behind his actions. Being number 1, the card number 1, he is the initiate and the initiator, but also the mentor and introduction. 1 is yang, or masculine power, bright and active. It represents man's consciousness. It stands erect like an obelisk, connecting heaven and earth. Initiator and guide of the process, which Carl Jung called individuation. All of a sudden, there is a plan. It's all about the work. He's got one job, and it requires much courage, skill, and dexterity. Anything that requires focused concentration requires the help of the magician. The word magic is cognate with imagination. It is the underlying power of imagination and a necessary ingredient for all creativity in the arts and sciences as well. Epiphany, the aha moment, the inspiration, the nirvana, the enlightenment, the illumination, all of those are within the realm of the magician. Epiphany is the Three Kings Day, or the Day of the Magi. This is how I come to associate and understand the magician, through that image. Bringing past, present, and future together, this is the holy secret of 1 and 3, the 3 kings following 1 star. He sees the hidden relationships. He sees the matrix, the hidden world beyond time. He is the one, like Neo in the Matrix. He is called or calls someone else for an adventure. He is either the mentor figure, such as the iconic figure of Merlin from Arthurian legends, or Gandalf from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Or he might be the hero himself of his own story, such as Harry Potter from J.K. Rowling. In art history, you find him as a painter at work in his studio, in the works of Vermeer, Velázquez, or Gustave Courbet. In my own work, I've explored this archetype through several representations of the figures of the 3 kings, and one of my favorite saints, San Martín de Porres, a mixed-race colonial-era saint from Peru. Living in a culture that increasingly becomes more digitized through information technology, our understanding of mysticism, ancient wisdom, and spirituality is subject to reinterpretation in light of this new technology. In a screen culture, hardware and software become new metaphors for body and soul, as compact discs and other hardware products become obsolete. We increasingly place more value on information derived from apps and other software that dwell in virtual reality, detached from the conventional materialistic consumer reality. If the 3 wise men from the Gospel of Matthew lived in our age, what would their sources of knowledge look like? The painting Techno-Magi reimagines this archetypal trio as wise technocrats that utilize modern-day devices as one of their many means to attain spiritual wisdom and perfection. As above, so below is one of the best-known Hermetic axioms to which 2 individuals on the back respond to. The 3 halos around their heads contain the many connections made through the use and navigation of the World Wide Web, WWW. This is an optimistic image about the potential rewards to be found through the prudent use of new means of technology that enables us to learn and discern the truth about the world around us, as well as a chance to gain insight of our spiritual compass living in a digital age. In the painting that I did of San Martín, in the Christian iconography, San Martín de Porres is often depicted as a mulatto Dominican brother in a hospital holding a broom, for he considered all work to be sacred, no matter how common. In this version, our saint finds himself in a fast food restaurant, and instead of a broom, he holds a straw and a plastic cup cover while serving a meal. Let's be reminded the saint's ideal was that of labor and service. One of the miracles that Porres is famous for is having a dog, a cat, and a mouse drink milk peacefully from the same dish. The magician assumes the role of a mediator between opposites. As a humble mixed-race alchemist, he dwells between two worlds, sacred and mundane, past and present. The magician is the mentor figure that can be either in you or it could be projected onto someone else. He teaches us to work on our presentation, on our day-to-day job, how we project our work onto the world, how to show things, pay attention to detail, be curious, be playful, find joy, find bliss in what you do. Make plans, but also be open for improvisation. If we met this individual, he would tell us, know thyself, be proud of who you are, don't be shy, trust yourself in your own skills and show it to the world. Find inspiration out of everyday experiences. Make everyday activity of your life a sacred experience and a ritual. And perhaps more importantly, find a sacred space in which you can perform your sacred job or act. In the case of an artist, it's a studio, but it can also be a secret garden, a forest, or a tree. Be like a child by reviving innocence, curiosity, imagination. Ask questions. Learn new skills. Be always open to new information, and most importantly, adapt to change. Cultivate your intellect by reading, thinking, writing, and drawing on journals. Stay awake and informed about the world around you. Focus on delivering your best performance. Hedonism is not a path to happiness. Work is. Focus only on what you can control. Know your limitations. Know your origins. Know your talents. The right choice often involves trial, error, action, and experimentation. In the end, it's ultimately all about control. We should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is or not in my control? Just keep in mind, the more we value things outside of our control, the less control we have. One thing we can have control over is our creative spirit. Once attained and harnessed, what are we going to create and bring about into this world? This is up to each and one of us. So, in my Tarot Neocolonial de las Americas, I depicted the magician inspired on an early self-portrait, a younger me, because that's how I identified with the magician being an artist. And he's holding a pomegranate fruit in his right hand, and with his left hand he's holding a pair of tweezers with a seed. The pomegranate represents promise of eternal life. The Spanish expression tomar todo con pinzas literally translates as take everything with tweezers. But it's best translated with the biblical idea of taking everything with a grain of salt. Perhaps the present situation requires minute attention and discernment. Down below, a monkey paints a portrait of a cat. This card is one step beyond the fool. It indicates initiation and a new set of skills. With hard work, practice, and patience, the artist acquires dexterity and mastery over his art. With it, he is able to fool the senses, convey illusions on his canvas, or show things for what they really are. He reveals the hidden possibilities in the tiniest of creations. As a magician, he shares a special relation with the biblical magi. There's a prophetic, mystical, and holy aspect to his mere presence, an act to be unfolded before our eyes. There's also a naivety and recklessness to his actions as echoed by the monkey performing under him. When this card shows up in a reading, be mindful of the issue of control and manipulation. Either someone very close to you is pulling the strings, or you may need to ask yourself, who is really in control of your current situation? Often, this card represents the inquirer with all the tools at his or her disposal, given in order to solve a problem. It also means we should look at things carefully and in detail. By showing off his dexterity and skillful manipulation of matter, the magician is also teaching us a valuable lesson on keen observation and skillful mastery over the material world. This is also a card about initiation and experimentation with new things, new ideas. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.